Hello, everybody. This is Bobby Mills for theindependent.com with another version of In the Hoops. Today we're in Hastings at Hastings High School with head boys basketball coach Drew Danielson. Hey, man, how are you?
Good to see you, Bobby.
Good to see
Excited
you.
to have you in the halls.
Hey,
it's fun. Looking forward to this.
Excited to be here, man. Gosh, I just couldn't wait to do this, and didn't know if you were sunken in far enough, got your feet planted. It sounds like you do.
We've always got time for Bobby Mills here. You bet.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I know all this, but some of the folks out there don't. Prior to this, was Cozad High School your first gig?
I was actually at Elkhorn for a year. Cozad was my first head job.
Didn't know that.
Yep.
Who's head coach there?
Spencer Peterson.
Okay.
And actually on staff there, Benji Haig was on staff. He was the head man there. And we had a blast in Elkhorn. That was a fun year. James Ford, who was my assistant at Cozad, was on staff.
Are you kidding? Wow.
It was, and then Travis Thompson was our JV coach, who's still their JV coach now. It was a pretty fun year with some great basketball minds there at Elkhorn. That was fun.
Good place to learn things in football or basketball, I might add. So with Mark Mortman. So, what do you, besides your head coaching job, your gig here is?
Yeah, so I'm assistant athletic director, and then I'm the attendance facilitator at the high school. So I've got some different roles. Each day is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Some days are more stressful than others, but really enjoying. I was a little bit worried about getting out of the classroom. Not teaching every day, but I tell you, continuing to build relationships with kids through my new role has been, pretty fun for me to experience that.
Is that a big deal to you to be in the classroom, or?
Yeah, to me, it's just about the relationships that you can form with your students.
Sure.
When I taught PE, I kind of knew what every day was going to look like,
sure.
and it's totally different. My days are, every day is not the same.
No.
So it's a little bit different, but I'm still able to, get those relationships formed. So it's been fun. Yeah.
Some days you don't even see the kids on the basketball team,
That's
correct?
Exactly right.
Till practice.
Yeah.
And then you really unload. No. So, of course, everybody knows about the Danielson family in New York. Tell me about where everybody is now before we get into Drew Danielson.
Yeah, we're pretty spread out. Mom and Dad are putting some miles. For sure.
Oh my goodness!
On the old car, but Brady is starting his second year at North Dakota, having a good year.
Good.
He's really liking it up there. They got a good program. They're creating really a good culture that's going to set them up here. 5-6 year run. But he's having a good year. And then Ty is down at Missouri Western. So he was graduate assistant for 2 years. And then now this is his first year taking over as full-time assistant coach.
Wow.
So he's really having fun with that role. And they're having a really big year. Just beat number 5 Washburn last weekend. So they're just breaking all kinds of records at Missouri Western. I think I just saw they moved up in the rankings, the 15th maybe. So they're having a really good year.
That's a great school to be at. Now I'm mildly surprised none of you Danielson boys gravitated towards football.
Yeah,
because you were all great players.
They definitely had the options. Yeah. And then Bryce, my other brother, is at Nebraska.
Okay.
And he's getting into the engineering world and doing a couple internships and stuff. And he's just starting his. We always knew that Bryce wanted to get into that and was going to get into it quick. And he's taken off with it, and pretty proud of that kid.
Good, great. He can grow. He can grow up to support mom and dad.
Sure, you betcha. Yeah, me too. If I'm not careful.
That's exactly. Well, hey, there's always that option. So tell me about your staff this season. Any holdovers from before?
Yeah, it's a pretty unique staff. First of all, I loved my time in Cozad. Absolutely loved that job and that community out there.
It looked like it.
Yeah, it just, and so, looking for me to kind of move up and then take that next step, I knew I had to have a good coaching staff, to make me, jump to that next step.
Sure.
And so our staff right now, Coach Ferguson is our JV coach.
Yeah.
Coach Flynn is our freshman coach, and then Coach Walbridge is our reserve 9-10 coach. And they were all on staff last year.
Cool.
Coach Creech. and we all played college basketball together at Hastings College.
Oh my.
I actually roomed with Coach Ferguson for a couple of years there. So we've got great relationships, us four. We've obviously been on the floor battling and been through some tough grinds. So
maybe practices after a 300-mile trip.
Yeah, maybe some cheap shots too, a little bit along the way. But that's pretty.
I didn't realize that.
It's pretty fun to have those three, on staff, and just the relationship that we've had over the years has been fun. And then, so at our varsity level, Doyle Dillo, obviously,
Isn't that something?
Just a great basketball mind across the state of Nebraska. There's not a guy that's been in more gyms over the last 20, 30 years than Doyle. And so obviously bringing him down, and he's doing a lot of just the overall, operations of the 9-12 program, helping a lot with scouting and that. And then Tim Novacek is our varsity assistant as well. He was my JV coach at Cozad.
I wondered about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And basically that conversation was, Coach Novacek, I'm going to take the Hastings High job. You want to come be a part of that? And that was a pretty easy yes.
Good.
So our staff is, I'm extremely lucky to have the staff that we have here. I've got obviously deep relationships with all 5 of them. Pretty cool to have that in place here.
Well, you hit the ground running like that. I mean, sometimes it takes a couple of years to develop that, where you can depend on each other and know what each other is thinking. That's great, boy. No wonder, yeah. You're starting out very well. You're 6-4 now, is that right?
6-4, yep.
Tough loss last night, but I mean, don't let Aurora fool you, man. Especially if they're on your schedule, because they're a lot better than their record indicates. And I think, if I have it written down, those 3 losses. What's that combined record of the teams? 28 and something.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean those are
good.
Those are pretty good basketball teams you played so far.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's been the key to that? Was it because more heavy graduation losses from last year, and people saying, well, I don't know about this, but whoever gets the gig is going to have a tough time. But there might be a little bit of a culture established here, where there wasn't before. Am I wrong about that?
I think, the thing about culture is, it's loosely defined by everybody.
Yeah, and I'm talking about kids wanting to come out.
Sure. And I think, our numbers are just through the roof.
Good.
It's, we're almost having practice problems because we got too many kids, which is a great problem to have. No, we didn't get anybody. No. So our numbers are out of control, really, really good. And then, we had kids come back out that haven't played before that are starting and playing really good minutes.
Whoa.
So, I looked on the floor last night at one point in the game, 3 of our 5 guys on the floor didn't play basketball. The last year or 2 years or never before.
Whoa.
So I think, what we've kind of created in the short, month and a half that we've been in the season is we're starting to develop that culture that, Hastings High basketball's going to be fun. First off, it's going to be fun. We're going to play with a ton of energy. We're going to do things right. But I think more importantly from the kids, they just want to have fun. They want to be able to be a part of something, but they want to be coached the right way too, respected and really just built up and motivated. And I tell you, I just love the group of kids we have. They really work hard. I mean, you saw it all football season with just the grit and toughness that they have. We're starting to scratch what our culture could be. Mm-hmm. It's hard to get that done in just a short amount of time, but we're starting to scratch what it could be.
Good. I thought football would help, but was there any returning starters from a year ago? I knew Jared Sinek was off the bench.
Yeah, Sinek played a little bit. Brendan Whitty played a little bit, but that's really that was it.
What was the JV record last year?
I think they were around 500.
Yeah.
And Coach Simmons did a good job with those guys last year. And a lot of those guys played JV, but it wasn't like the core group.
Yeah.
Was returning. So yeah. So then coming back out, Austin Nauert, who was a stud on the football field, he hadn't played basketball since he was a freshman.
Wow.
He's starting for us, doing really good things, but he hadn't played basketball in a long time. Gabe Garcia hadn't played in 2 years.
Why, where'd he come from? Just one of those other deals, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So he came back out having I mean, the fact that he hasn't played, and then you look at his stats, I mean, he is shooting the lights out of the ball with very no varsity experience.
Wow,
So,
defensively, I've seen him. I mean, he could get thrown in jail for being a
Right.
thief,
You
man.
bet.
I mean, he's aggressive, and I like the looks of
He
that.
is tough. And then Roddy Mclean, our other guard, hadn't played since he was a freshman either.
Well, I don't remember that name either.
Yeah. So it's kind of a cool, unique group in the sense that we just got a lot of chips on our shoulder that a lot of teams don't have to go. But that, I just love it. I love the fact that we have to overcome all this adversity, just to get our team prepared to win. It's a cool group of kids.
They did it in football. They were one of the most respected teams in the state. I see Cynic actually throwing baseball passes down court now and then. I don't think that happened last year.
Yeah, I think we try to include football as much as we can in basketball. We use the quarterback term, the spread term,
Wow.
we try to include that much because he is he's a stud. He's a pretty cool kid.
Yeah.
Coach Frost is getting a good one there.
Well, he is. I love his hair too, and I don't know what coaches
You bet.
think. You can always tell about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going into foul this time, Bob. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, no, well,
Mhm.
yeah, he's contributed a lot. So you've told me about your starting offense. What about the defense? What's your offense and defense compared to what you ran in Kozad? Is that even? Can you even do that when you?
No, I think it is. I think the big difference that I would say about the two is just, you have more kids and more athletes. In Class B school, So it allows me to do some more on defense that maybe we were a little bit limited when our teams in Kozad. As far as offense, I see a lot of similarities coming out of the two teams. We want to control tempo. We want to shoot it, really good from behind the arc. We want to be physical. But I've really been impressed with our defense, given that lack of inexperience. Because usually when you have inexperience, you can find a way to put the ball in the hole, but defensively,
There you go.
Defensively, the rotations and the helper and all that stuff just
man.
sometimes doesn't click. So I've been very impressed with our defense, and I think one of the unique things as well is, this team looks different every week. I mean, we've almost morphed into 5 or 6 different teams as the week has gone on, and that's due to no experience and just kids figuring out how we want to play, and makes us tough to scout in the sense that we don't know what's going to come out, but which is why you can see some inconsistency with our scoring as well.
Well, that creates a scouting nightmare like mad, and it's. But what I'm surprised about is defensively. What I saw on film, it looked really good, man. I mean, I haven't watched any total game film, but what a terrific job. How much time do you spend on a day in practice on defense? It's hard to say.
It is. I've given Coach Ferguson, a big role with that as far as taking over the defense and trying to do some different things. But for the most part, and this is just as a whole, offense and defense, we probably spend 90% on just skills and fundamentals, just because we're behind that far in that, and I think that's why we've just continued to grow and grow and grow, because our skills and fundamentals are getting better, just with simple jump stop and sticking your shot and closing out and boxing out and all that stuff. As far as the team defense wise, to be honest with you, we really don't spend a whole lot of time on it, which
there's that school of thought. You've got athletes though that
we sure do.
Can get after it, and if they know basically what to do, and just look good on film to me.
Yeah, just go get the ball.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Are you satisfied with your defensive points allowed thus far?
Yeah, I think I really truly believe that. Like I just said, I think our defense is continuing to morph into what we want it to become. But as far as the tempo's everything to me on defense. If you can mix and match and adjust and force that offense to really think about what you're going to play, I think you've got them.
Yeah.
And last night was a great example of that. I felt like in the first half, Aurora was just very, very comfortable with what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we couldn't we couldn't get into something different because we weren't scoring.
Right.
So then we couldn't switch, call timeouts, adjust,
Yeah.
and then we just got behind the 8 ball. But that fourth quarter, that's what our defense is. You know,
Yeah.
getting up and pressure and just being able to just cause some havoc with those guards.
They must have been frustrated because
Yeah.
that's a heck of a gap from
Yeah.
22 to 5, I think it was. That's tough to close that.
Yeah.
And like I say, that's not a bad basketball team either, with a coach
Sure.
that had to take over.
Yeah.
What improvements would you like to see on this team offensively?
Offensively, you know, I think it's just skills and fundamentals one.
Yeah.
You know, I still feel like sometimes we make the game of basketball really, really hard.
Oh, I know it.
It's simply about putting the ball in the hole. And usually when you do that more than the other team, you usually win the game. So
as simple as that, Teresa.
it's pretty simple. So shooting-wise, I mean, we missed a ton of open shots last night.
Did you really?
And it's really, you know, what I see is we don't catch it properly. We don't stick it properly.
Yeah.
It's just the basic, third, fourth grade, you know, shooting. I mean, it really, that's what it is. So continuing to work skills and fundamentals, but then I think, you know, also being able to, you know, mix and match as far as different rotations. We have to find a way to get some more depth somehow. You know, right now we're 7, you know, sometimes 6 that we play. And so being able to find some more depth and guys just come in and knock down some shots.
Yeah.
To score. Yeah.
The bench scoring isn't where you want it right
No.
now, is that? Yeah.
No.
Well, naturally, if
Yeah.
they haven't played ball, you know, it depends on how much they played in the summertime. You
Sure.
wonder about that, but
Sure.
it's going to get there, and somebody's going to not be happy about it on the road.
Yep.
That's on the other side.
You bet.
Hey, what about a guy? You're smart, so I'll ask you. What about a kid that's Woody looks like a good shooter. He looks like he's been in all his life. But what about a kid that has a shot and then just kind of loses it for a while?
Yeah.
Is that a good time to go back to mechanical skills? And why do they do that?
Yeah.
Is it hurry? Is it getting in a hurry?
I think, you know, the big thing we talk about as a coaching staff is, you know, we really rolled out our youth program, what that looked like here in the fall with our Rise Youth Hoop program. And, you know, if we have a chance to work on that stuff when they're 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, you don't really fight that.
No.
When they're in high school.
Yep.
And so now, taking over in year 1, you know, we've got seniors who are really, really good kids, really good players. They're bought in fully to what we're doing. But the skills and fundamentals, it's very, very difficult to break those bad habits.
Sure
And for the kids too, you know, you don't necessarily want to break those bad habits, because if you spend so much time on trying to break those bad habits, then you're going to lose all of that good that you're getting from them. So it's a catch-22, but I think little things that you can work on, you know, just we've been really hard on our guys to, you know, let's get in the gym and just shoot every day. Put 1,000 shots up.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, keeping it simple. There's no recipe for getting in a gym and just shooting too.
Yeah, and it's tough to work with mechanics, like you say. If good things are happening a lot of the time, you can probably do more harm than you can good. But change its whole shot. It's like you say, catching the ball and setting up's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So tell me about your last. You've got a stretch coming up here. The last 5 games look really difficult.
Yeah,
I mean, Class B is up for grabs in my estimation. I may be wrong.
Sure it is.
Unless you play Mount Michael at their place when you got to,
Which we did, which was
have you ever played there?
I've never been there. No, I've never been there. And it was, you know, I mean, film obviously doesn't do it justice at all.
Oh no,
yeah,
no.
So I mean, it was, to be honest, it was a fun environment. You know, we didn't have, they didn't have fans there, which helped immensely, because I've seen pictures of students on the floor and everything. So that obviously helped. But yeah, they're a very, very tough team. They're probably the most complete team, I would say.
And 5 returning starters.
Yeah, they've got experience. Coach Spooner does a great job with those guys, gets everything out of them. So,
And the ghost of who
yeah,
there.
you betcha. You bet.
But that gym literally has, am I wrong in saying 4 rows up, and that's all they have?
Yeah.
4 or 5 rows?
Mm-hmm. I'd say 4 or 5, yeah.
And if you're in the corner shooting a 3, how far away from the end to out of bounds are you?
So there's an inbounds line, and then there's an out of bounds line. So the bleachers the bleachers are actually right on the out of bounds line.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
so I never sit down as a coach, but so when I stand, I'm literally standing on the floor coaching because there's nowhere else to stand.
Nope, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And then when I was a kid, 150 years ago, there were a lot of little gyms like that. And even where the hoop was affixed to the wall.
No, but our schedule, like you said, you know, we don't have a conference now with the GNAC.
I
the
know.
GNAC kind of, which was a little bit disappointing, but also it gives us a lot of flexibility as far as what we want our schedule to look like.
Yeah.
So the week of the GNAC, which will usually be the last week of January when a lot of conference tournaments are going on, we actually have that full week off. And
I suppose.
Yeah, we designed that on purpose because I just feel like if we can get to that point in our schedule before February turns, and that's, like you said, the gauntlet there, we can get some really good practices in then and really have a good plan to really attack that February month.
And then 4 or 5 is on 4 or 5 are on the road, aren't they?
Yep.
It's tough to get those turned around sometimes. You know, how do you do that as an athletic director?
Sure.
How do you get them turned around and say, hey, come to our place twice so we can do that?
Yeah, you'll have to ask Mrs. Douglas about that.
Yeah. You know, why do we have to go to Waverly, Elkhorn North, you know?
Yeah, so with Elkhorn, you know, they moving back down to B, a lot of the Class A teams had dropped them.
Oh, yeah.
So their schedule, I think Coach Haig was telling me, they've got just an insane amount of road games.
Oh, I know.
Like 4 or 5 home games, just because the schedule flipped and so. But at the beginning of the year, when we picked up Elkhorn and then Elkhorn North, we added those 2 teams to our schedule. I just feel like at that point in time in the season, you're going to know who you are.
Oh, sure.
And, you know, the tough teams and the good teams, like you said, Class B is wide open. If you want to give yourself a chance, you got to go on the road and beat somebody good.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like, you know, we got to get that done at some point. So you might as well, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best and beat them. So.
That's right. Waverly, Elkhorn North. I don't know. Plattview's not. They do a nice job.
And then Adams Central's in there as well.
Whew.
So yeah,
Is Adams Central here or there?
We actually moved that to Hastings College, so that'll be a fun environment.
Whoa!
So we could have more fans. Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a fun game.
Come on, health department, cooperate with us on that one.
Yeah.
Can't even get in usually.
Yeah.
The district looks pretty good to me for, you know, and it probably never change.
Yeah.
Who's in there? It's usually Northwest.
Northwest, Lex, and McCook.
Never. How would it change?
Yeah.
Unless they sent you
Unless
east.
they sent us east. Yeah. You know, there was a couple years where Hastings was going to Grand Island with like York and Northwest and Aurora but no, I don't see that changing. You know, the next couple of years.
Those are teams you're beating up. I don't know. You play it during the year sometimes. Jeez, man.
Yeah. No, I feel really good about that sub-district. Northwest is having a really good year.
Yep.
Coach Ba's doing good things. And, man, I tell you, Lexington on Saturday, you know, you look at their record and you watch them on film and you really didn't know what to expect. But, man, they came out and they can pose some problems for some teams. They're really good. And, obviously, we play McCook Friday, so we'll get a good look at them.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, what's the qualification specifications in Class B? Is it just the do you play a district final?
Yeah, so it'd be a sub-state game. They reseed 1 through 16 after that. So, and that's why I love our February schedule.
Oh,
because really, you know, if you look at it, once you get through, you know, I'd say probably 5 or 6 teams right now in B. I think it's a toss-up as far as, you know, who that 6, 7, 8 seed at state is. So, I mean, you're going to give yourself a chance if you just continue to stay bought in and just keep getting better.
Last question. Did you play York this year?
We did.
Did you play them on the road?
They were here.
How would that have felt to go back to York and play that team?
Yeah, that would be...
would that be cool, or would that be...
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be cool. I love the community of York.
Yeah.
It's obviously made me the person I am.
Yeah.
And, there's still a lot of really cool and neat people in that community.
Oh, there are.
But we'll get to experience that trip next year.
Yeah, they're really like that. I've been to many.
Too bad.
So hey, it's been great.
Awesome.
Continued success, and knock on wood that the injuries, you're injury free right now. I think, right?
Yeah.
So you know, we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. And are you allowing, how many fans do you allow into the
Yeah,
games
so
now?
we're back to 50%.
50? Good.
Saturday Lexington game was the first time we had 50% in, so it was
Oh,
almost like the first game of the year.
Yes,
Tons
yeah.
of people. It was a fun environment.
Yeah, as a PA announcer, I couldn't believe there's people here.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know if it makes
fun
any
for the
difference to the kids. They probably tune it out anyway, but,
Yeah.
well, good.
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
You bet.
I don't know
Appreciate
if you need it, but you'll do fine.
Appreciate it.
Drew Danielson, ladies and gentlemen, terrific coach. I just wish you the best in your team. So get out and see a Hastings games. The next one is
Friday at home.
good. Get out there and do it. 50. I don't know how you get in. You can probably first come first serve. I don't know.
Wear your mask and walk in. The greatest thing we have is one of the biggest gyms in the state.
Absolutely. What a great facility.
You bet.
Yeah, you can even sit clear up there and have some fun.
You
So.
bet.
All right, Bobby Mills for Carissa behind the camera with another version of In the Hoops. Watch this one when it's up. This is a great man. So we'll see you next time when you travel the state interviewing coaches.